Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently ink this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a Mr. Cypress and this is the Eggshell 01. We have a Mr. Cypress and this is the Eggshell 05A. We have a Mr. Cypress and this is the Eggshell 06. We have a Mr. Cypress and this is the Maki-e Goldfish. We have a Mr. Cypress and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. We have a Mr. Cypress and this is Maple in the Forest. We have a Gilbert House pens in pens box Elder Burl. We have Gilbert House pens in the green Mallee Burl. We have a Jinhao or brand X550. And we have another Jinhao brand X550. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the Eggshell 01. I really do love this pen. I do like a little bit of Raden or abalone shell here. I do like the eggshell, and I do like there's a lot of black there to almost sort of mimic the night sky. This really is a beautiful work of art. If I unscrew the cap, there's a slight glitter to the section, which I think is nice. And I've got a Mr. Cypress, and this is a 14 karat gold medium nib. And you can see there that the converter is almost empty now. I do need to ink this one back up, because it's one I'm going to be writing with. You can't post the cap on this, but it is a very decent size in my hand there that there is no need for me to post that cap. But this really is a beautiful pen. I do think a lot of the work that Mr. Cypress are doing is actually quite good. They do have artisans that are, I want to say, entry-level artisans, but I don't think they are. I'm thinking about the cost of the Mr. Cypress pens compared to something like a Tatcha or a Namiki Emperor or something along those lines, where the cost is a lot less than those branded pens. But when you think about it, it's probably that obviously the artisan is making a bit of money. The obviously Pilot or Namiki or Tatcha are also making probably or wanting to make a lot of money, and that's probably what boosts the price of the pen up more, I would think. Whereas Mr. Cypress probably not making as much, and that's probably the reason behind it. The next pen I inked up is the Mr. Cypress, and it's the Eggshell 05A. I do like this pen a lot. This pen I did kind of buy on a whim. I wanted another eggshell pen with Raden in it. I thought at the time that this pen might be a little bit too busy, but I am still liking this pen though, since I added it to my collection. It really is quite a beautiful pen. And I have to say, the value for this pen is very good. It's got a much more glittery section there. It's got a number 6 size Cypress 14 karat gold nib on this one. You can't post the cap. It is a standard international converter. Again, that one is like running on fumes, so I'm going to have to ink this one back up again most likely. But I do like this pen. It really has character. I am liking Raden and Urushi pens, and this speaks to me quite a bit. But the first one I bought from Cypress was this one, and this is the Eggshell 06 Raden. And this just makes it look like my Tatcha My Abbey Winter's Breast, but with a flat top instead of a cigar like the Tatcha has. Again, beautiful combination of the eggshell there and the Raden or the abalone shell in a spiral design. It goes in the opposite way to the Tatcha, but that doesn't bother me. It is a beautiful design, and I really do like writing with this. This one's got a number 6 size Cypress 18 karat gold nib on there, and I'm guessing, yeah, there's some ink left in there. I do need to probably refill that at some point. I probably won't at this moment in time, but again, it's a decent size in my hand there. You can see you've got a concave section to it. It is urushi. It's an ebonite body, as with all of the Cypress pens, but it is actually an interesting pen to write with. Now, I added 2 more recently to my collection in October, and it was these 2. And I don't know, I want to say I'm torn. I'm not torn. I'm at maybe an avenue, a fork in the road, where I want to say, as much as I like these pens, I really wish they were the size of the first 3 pens. They're not as long, they're not as thick or as girthy, and as much as I want to add a few more of these to my collection, I think I need to make sure for myself that I only go for 150 millimeters long or 146, and then also there's got to be a 15 millimeter body, where these I think are 13 millimeter bodies, and that makes all the difference. But this one I added in October. This is the Mr. Cypress Maki-e Goldfish. A beautiful pen. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this pen. It's just, it's on the thinner and on the shorter side to what I would prefer. So I would much prefer a pen of this size, or even these Gilbert House pens. And you can see the difference there. It is quite a difference. So I will write with this pen all day long if I want to. It's got a number 6 size Cypress 18 karat gold nib there, and I will write with this all day long. But if you give me the option, could I have this in this size, or could I have this in a pen that was 150 millimeters long? I'd go with 150 millimeters, even if it cost me another, let's say, 100 or 150 dollars to that pen, because I don't know what it is, but I just prefer longer, thicker pens. And I've said this before, that I typically find that I will death grip a thinner, shorter pen more, and I do not know why, other than maybe I'm worried about it slipping out of my hand, which is insane because it's not going to, but it's just my brain just says I'm going to grip that pen harder, and then I get a little bit more hand fatigue when I'm writing, which means that I can then only write a shorter amount than maybe I normally would do. At the same time, I picked up this one, which is a Mr. Cypress Raden Mosaic number 4, and again, I love the pen, I love the design, but I just wish it was a little bit longer and a little bit more girthier in width of a pen. Am I going to sell these 2 pens? No, I'm not going to. So don't send me a message and say I'll buy this one off of you, because I'm not looking to sell these. But I just think, in hindsight, in future, I probably would go for the. I'm going to look out for a 150 millimeter length pen, and I have to say that in the last 6-8 months, I've not seen Mr. Cypress making any pens that long. They have been this size of pen, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe they'll go back to making longer pens and thicker pens. This has a number 6 size, 18 karat gold nib there, medium nib. And again, like it's fine in the size of my hand, and I can write with it. I just would prefer a slightly longer and a slightly more thicker pen. These are all cartridge converters. These are not pistons or power racks. And you can even see that even next to this one, which is a Mr. Cypress, and that is the Maple in the Woods, or Maple Leaf, that these 2 are a little bit on the shorter side. That I don't mind. I think if I had the option to say, let's make it as girthy as this one, which isn't quite as girthy as these 3, but the same length, would that be okay? And I would say yes, that would be fine. I think it's the girth more than the length, although when I have a pen in the pen tray here and I'm comparing them, I typically would like similar length pens. But it's the girth that really makes a difference for me. But this one is a pen that I do love a lot. It's the Mr. Cypress, and it's the Maple in the Forest, or what I call the Maple Leaf. It was the last one that Cypress had. I nearly missed out on this one. Very glad I bought it when I did. It's a beautiful pen. I really love this. Strangely enough, this autumn, I've not been writing with it. And I had said to myself, I was going to write with this pen this autumn a lot more. But I'd already been writing with it early on in the year. And I've just been rotating my pens. And I just never got round to it. But this has a number 6 size Cypress 14 karat gold nib. Again, it's a cartridge converter pen. You can't post the cap, but again, I don't see that being a problem. But it really is a nice size pen. So I put that into my rotation again this week because I have been a bit lapsed with that. And I really should have, in autumn, been writing with that pen more. And strange enough, I was only thinking that, like, going back a year or 2 or 3 years, in the summer I was writing with like orange inks and bright green inks, like orange because of the sun and green because of the grass, and I've been doing less of that in the last year. Again, I don't know why. I think I've just been gravitating towards more colours that just maybe speak to me at the time, and maybe I need to just get back into that sort of like colour inks to the seasons of the year, perhaps. The next pen inked up is the Gilbert House pens, and this is the Blue Box Elder Burl. Beautiful pen. I think Brad Harrington has done a lot of good work on this pen. These are resins hybrids. This one I think come from the USA. This one I think came from Australia. They are just really beautiful hybrid resins. Typically, I would avoid wood pens because wood can shrink, it can expand and crack, but I just like these pens. So I did go for this and pick this up at the London Pen Show. I think it's a beautiful pen. I got a number 6 size Bock nib on there, medium nib, and this has a Schmidt converter there as well, international converter. And I nearly picked up a dark red and a dark purple pen, but they were a little bit too on the dark side of the resin, that it almost was a little bit more black than red or black than purple, and I would like a lighter version of it. So I'm going to keep my eyes out to see what Brad picks up in terms of resins and turns. And if I see a lighter red or a lighter purple, I probably will look at buying one. I could always ask Brad to seek out some resins as well. But I'm in no rush. So I think I'll see how that one pans out. And hopefully he'll be at the London Pen Show in March 25. And I'll be able to see some more of his pens there. But this one is the Gilbert House pens, and this is the green Mallee Burl. And again, I'm loving the Burlwood on this. Beautiful Burlwood. I am a sucker for Burlwoods. I've got pen boxes that pens have come in from Anoto that are Burlwood, and some from Visconti, and I just love those Burlwood boxes. This comes with a number 6 Yovo medium nib, and again, it is a cartridge converter. You can see there, Schmidt International Converter, or K5. Again, the pen's not designed to be posted, but that doesn't concern me in any way. It's a really nice size, and I just feel that these size of pens, be it the 3 Mr. Cypress here or the Gilbert House pens, are just the right size and the right length, the right girth. It just feels nice in my hand, and I know everybody's different, and a lot of people like smaller or thinner pens. I like more girthier, sometimes more weighty pens, certainly longer pens, and it just for me is the ultimate pen. But some people I know would prefer this size of pen. The next two pens I've got here are the brand or Jinhao X550. I don't honestly know if they're Jinhao. I see some online sites referring to them as Jinhao. When I bought this one, it was advertised on AliExpress called Brand X550. So I would think in most cases it would be listed as Jinhao, and it probably would have Jinhao name on it, but it doesn't. It is just a blatant copy of the Pilot Custom Urushi in every way. It just hasn't got Pilot on the clip. But yeah, maybe they called it Brand because they didn't want to be sued. But I did get a ebonite section made from Mike Green, the pen maker in the US, and I've managed to insert a Jinhao 9019 nib in there, and also a Jinhao 9019 converter as well. So that really works well for me. So that is good, and I have to say I'm loving that. I can post the cap if I want to, but it's hugely back weighted. I do like that number 8 size nib that I've got in there. I think it's much better than the number 6 size nib that shipped with it, and I think it just makes this pen a lot more like a custom Urushi Vermilion, obviously in blue. And then the final pen here inked up is this one, which again is another brand X550 or Jinhao. And again, I've got Mike Green to make a section here. And I've got the 9019 nib there. And it really is a nice large nib. And have to say, yes, I'm loving this pen. Again, cartridge converter I've got in there. I've got the 9019 converter. If I unscrew that, you'll see it's a much larger converter. It just, I don't know, it just seems right to do it that way. So, and again, you can post a cap on this one as well, but it is so back weighted because it's a brass bodied pen. It just makes more sense just to not post that cap. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this pen is running out of ink. Will I get through this writing example? I don't know. So this is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 cat gold Cypress nib made by Kenwright in India, and the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Aji Sei, and that's one ink I'm gonna probably have to stock up on. I think I've got 2 bottles of that now, but I might. I don't need more ink, and I want to say, Dave, don't buy more ink because I have way too much ink. But there are certain inks I do like, and that is one of them. And I have FOMO. Pilot already removed Inner Ho, which is a beautiful goldish ink, which haunts me to this very day. And even though I've got 2 bottles of it, I still wish I had more. So it's a thing that I want to get. I want to have more bottles of the ink so I never run out of it. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a nice writing nib. Now this is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A in a medium, 14 karat gold nib. And I just need to check the ink. I'm pretty sure this is a KWZ ink, but I'm equally just need to double check this. I'm glad I did, because it's not. It is raw. I thought it was KWZ grass green. It's Rohrer and Klinger, and it's Verdura. And I could have been mistaken. I think it's got a little bit more darker green or bluish green in that ink, so I probably should have realised that. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06. Now, this was the first Cypress pen that I bought. I didn't know what was going to happen. Ordering from Taiwan, whether or not I was going to be charged import tax into the UK. I haven't on any of my Mr. Cypress orders. So if you're in the UK and you're worrying about that, I would say don't worry. So this is the Mr. Cypress, and it is the Eggshell 06, and it's a medium. But this one, my first one was an 18 karat gold Cypress nib. Equally, it was my first Cypress nib, so I didn't know what to expect. And the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, and it is Appetite. But that is a very, very nice writing nib. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Maki-e Goldfish. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And you see, this is a beautiful writing nib. Love that colour of ink as well. So this is the Mr. Cypress Maki-e Goldfish in a medium, and this one is an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Robert Oster, Gold Antiqua, which is an older gold coloured ink that I have, but I did replenish a bottle more recently, and I say I'm still loving that ink. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress, and this is the Raden Mosaic number 4. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a lighter, almost golden brown, but I'm still liking this colour. So this is a Mr. Cypress, and it is the Raden Mosaic number 4 in a medium 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Robert Oster Muddy Bucket. But this kind of reminds me a little bit more of the shading elements and the colour of Inner Hoe. Although Inner Hoe, I would say, probably is a little bit darker, but it depended on whether or not you put it in a wet writing nib or a dry writing nib. If it was in a dry writing nib, it would look similar to that. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress, and this is the Maple in the Forest. So we'll do an ink swatch. And again, I'm liking the colour of this ink. So this is Mr. Cypress, and it's Maple in the Forest. And it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Herban, Amber, de Burmanie. But that is an interesting colour, quite autumnal really. Actually, all three of those colours are actually quite autumnal, but I do like Amber de Burmanie a lot. The next pen inked up is the Gilbert House pens, and this is the blue box Elder Burl. So we'll do an ink swatch. And really do like this blue. It's a turquoise, but I do love it. So this is the Gilbert House pens, blue box, Elder, Burl, and it's a medium and it's a steel box nib. And the ink in here is Visconti turquoise, which I really do think matches the blue in that pen quite a lot. I think that's a very good match. The next pen is the Gilbert House pens, and this is the green Mallee Burl. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And I have got some bluer green inks that I could put in here, but I've just stuck with this one for the time being. This is the Gilbert House pens, green, Mallee, Burl. And it's a medium and it's a steel. This one's a Yovo nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ Grass Green, which is a good mid-green, I think. Bordering on dark, but not too light of a green. The next pen inked up is the Jinhao or brand X550. And we'll do an ink swatch here. So this is a nice blue colour. So this is the Jinhao / brand X550, and most of the places I've seen, like on AliExpress, they call it brand, but I've also seen some places calling it a Jinhao. Now this is a medium nib in here, but I've actually retrofitted it with a Jinhao 1919 nib, so it is a steel nib. And also converter as well, the Jinhao 1919 converter. The ink in here is Franklin Christoph. And I want to say Spanish blue. But it's a nice writing nib. I really do like that. It did come with a number 6 size nib and a smaller standard international converter, but I swapped those out for the larger nib. The section made by Mike Green, and really am loving that. And then the last one again is another Jinhao or brand X550, but in green. This one was gifted to me by Dr. Joe Vitolo before I bought the blue one, and I am loving this one as well. But again, Mike Green, the pen maker, has been making ebonite sections for these, and allowing for a 1919 converter to be retrofitted to it and a 1919 nib unit. So I'll put here Jinhao or brand X550 medium steel nib, and then the ink in here is KWZ Grass Green. But this is a very, very nice writing nib. I am liking those Jinhao 1919 nibs. I really am. So, I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We've got a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01 in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot of Washizuku Aji Sei. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Roar and Klinger Verdura. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Appetite. We have a Mr. Cypress Maki-e Goldfish in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. We have a Mr. Cypress Raden Mosaic number 4 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Robert Oster Muddy Bucket. We have a Mr. Cypress Maple in the Forest in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Herben Amber de Bermanie. We have a Gilbert House Pens Blue Box Elder Burl in a medium steel nib inked up with Visconti Turquoise. We have a Gilbert House Pens in the green Mallee Burl in a medium steel nib inked up with KWZ Grass Green. We have a Jinhao Brand X550 in a medium steel nib inked up with Franklin Christoph Spanish Blue. And we have another Jinhao Brand X550 in a medium steel nib inked up with KWZ Grass Green. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.